Welcome to the Raleigh Board of Selectmen meeting for January 23rd, 2017, at 7 p.m. And I'll call the meeting to order. First order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. And Mr. Snow, would you lead us?
Pledge allegiance to
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
You're welcome, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, could we have a moment of silence for Police Officer William Woods, who passed away this past week?
Yes, that would be a good idea. Moment of silence. Okay. We have on our agenda tonight, we have citizens query. We're going to aim for 7:10 to 7:15. At 7:15, we have an appointment for police department appointments. At 8 o'clock, we have a joint meeting with the Historic District Commission. We have general business items, new business items, old business items, and minutes to go over tonight. So we will go down to, this meeting is being audio and visually recorded digitally. Our first order of business will be general business number 1. And we have a request from the Friends of the Council on Aging to use the town common to hold their 7th annual yard sale and bake sale on May 13th, 2017. With a rain date of May 14th, 2017. The Friends of the Council on Aging is requesting to use the town common for their annual yard sale and bake sale on Saturday, May 13th from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. with a rain date of Sunday, May 14th. The board needs to vote to grant this request.
Move the motion, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to allow the Friends to use the town common for their 7th annual yard sale. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. General business number 2. We're accepting the resignations from Reserve Police Officer Matthew Ducott, Police Officer Richard Johnson, and Reserve Dispatcher Christopher Hurst.
I'll give you the motion, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to accept the resignations from the 3 individuals named. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. General business number 3. We have a request from Police Chief Scott Dumas to lift the hiring freeze for the positions of Reserve Dispatcher, Reserve Patrolman, and Full-Time Patrolman. The Police Chief is requesting that the hiring freeze be lifted so that we can post the job vacancy notices for the position of Reserve Dispatcher, Reserve Patrolman, and Full-Time Patrolman.
Give you the motion, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to lift the hiring freeze to allow Chief Dumas to post for those positions. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. And that takes care of general business. We'll go on to new business number 1. Review the Board of Health variance request application from Gerald Fandetti for 101 Main Street. The Board of Health has They have sent the attached notice regarding a request from Gerald Fandetti for a septic system variance to the Selectmen. Debbie has also sent it to the Cemetery Board for review. Does the Board of Selectmen have any comments concerning this request that they wish to send to the Board of Health?
I got nothing, Mr. Chairman.
I have nothing.
Haven't seen it yet myself, as far as the cemetery goes, so we'll probably have at least one member of the cemetery board attend the meeting.
Okay. So we have no reply to send to the Board of Health.
Not at this point.
Thank you. No comment to the Board of Health. New business number 2. Excuse me. Review Historic District Commission notification on the application from Gerald Fandetti to demolish certain structures at 101 Main Street. The Historic District Commission sent the attached notice regarding a request to demolish certain structures at 101 Main Street. The notice has a note that the request does not include the existing 1901 Edward A. Millett House. Debbie has also sent it to the Cemetery Board for review. Does the Board of Selectmen have any comments concerning this request that they wish to send to the Historic District Commission?
I had no issues, Mr. Chairman.
Nothing, Mr. Chairman.
Cemetery, same answer.
Thank you. We have no reply to send along to the Historic District Commission. New business number 3. We have a request from Sean Godbout to have his band 3 Blocks East to hold a summer concert on the town common. Sean Godbout of the band 3 Blocks East sent Debbie the attached email regarding holding another concert this summer on the town common. I suggested last year that we allow the 3 Blocks East to perform on the town common to continue our, I wish we could get more, but at least we can continue to have some bands have concerts on the common, and I would like to see it continue. Does anybody have an objection? I think Sean is, they could do it either in June, July, or August, and I would just suggest that he pick a date and let us know when he's available.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Anybody have any
No.
comment?
No, I think it's great. We still got money in the fund, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. No. It's always a good time.
right,
Keep our fingers crossed that the weather's good.
exactly. So we'll reply to Sean that we'd like to have him, would give him permission to have a concert on the common, just give us a date and,
I will do that, and Mr. Chairman, last year he did that free, and I presume that's the same this year, that there would be no cost to have that band perform.
Oh, very good.
So we'll confirm that.
we have to take a vote to allow him to have the concert on the common.
Why don't we wait until I get the date
Date,
back,
oh.
a date that he prefers, and make sure that's,
Yeah.
meets the approval of the board.
Excellent. It's approaching 7:10. We'll have citizens' query for the next 5 minutes. New business number 4, email from Water Superintendent Mary Beth Weiser regarding fiscal year 18 hydrant fee. Debbie received the attached email message from Water Superintendent Mary Beth Weiser concerning the fiscal year 18 hydrant fee. Debbie also spoke to Water Board Chairman John Manning. She thanked him for reaching out to the Board of Selectmen and told him that she expects the fiscal year 18 budget to be tight. That's an understatement if I have ever heard one. But the Water Board, hello. The Water Board asked me to reach out to you regarding the memo we sent last spring, 2016, on the hydrants maintenance fee. the town pays to the water department annually. Due to the timing submitted for this increase, the water board decided to keep the fee at $53,400 in fiscal year 17 and sent over another memo informing the town there would be an increase fiscal year 18 to $72,900. We are currently working on the fiscal year 18 budget, and the board asked me to see if the town can afford this increase. We need to know this so that we can plan for revenues and budget appropriately. If the town cannot afford this increase, they will vote at the January 31st, 2017 Water Board meeting to keep the fee at $53,400. We spent approximately $76,000 in fiscal year 16 on the hydrant maintenance program. Please advise.
Now, I guess I'm a little bit confused. For years, it's always been hydrant rental. Now they're calling it maintenance.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I got a memo here that I sent to the superintendent last year, and I've updated it for, as a result of this request. Maybe you can give one to Bob and leave one for Cliff. One for Bob. I'll just briefly go through it.
Thank you.
For the record. Basically, what I said last year, and what I'm saying again this year, is back in FY '07, the hydrant fee was $23,775. At that time, between the accountant's fee, the treasurer collector fee, and the audit fee, which we charged back to the water department, the fee was, we charged them $11,198. FY '15, it'll be 3 years ago, they jumped the fee to $35,600. Last year, they jumped it to $53,400. In the meantime, in FY '16, we reduced our fees from $11,198 down to $10,142. Now they're proposing for FY '18 to have the fee at $72,900, which is almost a $20,000 increase. And I assume, I don't know what that budget's going to be, but I'm assuming our original intent was to keep it at $10,142 or something in that range. And my narrative is very quickly, since the town has never increased and actually reduced its water charges to the water department in the last 10 years, as shown, these charges need to be addressed for the FY 218 budget. The Tater and Howard rate study report for needed revenues indicated no need to increase hydrant rental fees, level funding them for FY 2015 through 2018 at $36,500 each year. So their rate study never indicated a need for increasing our costs. The Water Department website states, on a biannual basis, the Water Department flushes all hydrants and mains as an ongoing effort to remove any sediment and organics that may have been deposited in the mains. Our primary interest is fire hydrant use, while the Water Department's primary interest is water main flushing. The Water Department documentation info sheet puts responsibility for hydrants entirely on the town. My argument is it should be a 50-50 split based on the needs of both. If hydrant checks for fire use is done periodically, while the Water Department need for clean water is to flush thousands of gallons of water through the town twice a year using the hydrants that the town rents from them. Since hydrants are flushed during the normal workday, it is safe to assume that the labor involved in flushing is already part of the normal department wage line and not causing any additional over and above that line item that needs additional outside funding. Therefore, Mr. Chairman, my recommendation would be that we, in lieu of increasing we either increase town charges to the Water Department, and I can only say as a member of the Personnel Board that the Personnel Department has spent many, many hours in the past year dealing with personnel issues at the Water Department. We've had legal issues, et cetera, which we don't charge them for. We could charge them. In addition, factoring in the fact that they need the water, that they need the hydrants to flush the system out and keep the water clean, that they should certainly maintain some cost is beneficial to them, and the entire cost should not be put on the town side of the budget. So I would recommend that at the maximum we give them is once again $53,400, and I think we're being more than fair with the Water Department in that regard. So I'd like that included in the minutes of the meeting if possible.
Any other comments? have a motion to the water board to request that they set the rate at $53,400.
I'll give you the motion, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second.
Motion has been made and seconded to request that the water department set the fiscal year 18 water rate, hydrant rate at $53,400.
I would request, Mr. Chairman, that this, my chart here be enclosed to them with a letter indicating that I vote.
I think that's a good idea. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Okay. Since everybody's outside, I suggest that we go to our 7:15 appointment.
Good evening.
Hey, Chief.
Good evening, Chief.
There's a gaggle of people coming in.
Dave?
Hey, Dave.
Oh, I congratulations.
Nice to meet you.
Hi, how are you?
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Chief?
Nice to see you. Good to see you.
Chief.
Tight squeeze.
Okay.
We got room over here for a couple of people want to stand on the side. Mr. Chairman, can I just mention that we, just for the edification of the police department, we did have a moment of silence to open our meeting for Officer Bill Wood, who passed away this past week. And it was quite a funeral procession, and some of us went to, I know I went to the wake on Friday, and others attended the funeral on Saturday. So express our condolences to the department, and there's a lot of history going back to Bill Wood when he was on, and Roger, Bob Merry served with him way back in the day when Bob Hardy was chief, and really it was a part-time department in those days, so we've really come a long way
Well,
since.
back in those days, Bob was the only full-time
Was
officer.
he the only full-timer?
I got on because I was standing in front of the drugstore and he came up to me and says, "You want to be a police officer?" I gotta go home and check with my wife.
Yeah, those days they basically handed you a gun and a badge and said you're hired, right?
Gun badge and a radio to put in
A
the
radio.
car.
Congratulations.
So we've come a long way in that time, so that's all I wanted, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. We have a 7:15 appointment. We have David Sedgwick to be presented by Police Chief Scott Dumas for appointment as police captain.
Thank you,
Chief?
Mr. Chairman. As you know, our executive officer, Steve May, attended his, not his resignation, he retired, after 20 years of service here in the town of Raleigh, and all these folks served with Steve May. Did a tremendous job of service for the town of Raleigh. We're very appreciative of his service that he's given to us. That being said, when every door closes, a new one opens, and that's what I'm here to talk to you about tonight. First start off with Sergeant Sedgwick. When the process was opened up, we only had the one application, but just because there was only one application for the position doesn't mean that it was a slam dunk and it was his. Sergeant Sedgwick sat down with me and we talked about the philosophies of the police department moving forward. We talked about the community policing. We talked about the structure and where we wanted to bring this department to continue to move forward. And we have to be on the same page as my executive officer. And after we met for about an hour and had those discussions and talked about different philosophies, I was very, very pleased to announce to Sergeant Sedgwick that I'd be offering him up for appointment to the Board of Selectmen for the position of captain. Sergeant Sedgwick has worked for the police department for nearly 23 years. First promoted in 1993 as a patrolman. 2010 he was appointed as sergeant, and he's been in that capacity ever since. He's handled many roles throughout his 23 years with his field training officer, which he still currently continues to do. first responder and CPR instructor, again, roles that he has, and he's also our accreditation manager, and has been for many years. Accreditation obviously is a very important function at the police departments, and in line with all the policies and procedures, making sure that we are going by industry standards and maintaining those that level of professionalism. He also works for NEMLEC, Northeastern Massachusetts Law Enforcement Council, and currently serving as negotiator for that team, but he's also served as a squad and platoon leader on the regional response team. Sergeant Sedgwick holds a Bachelor of Science degree in criminal justice, but beyond that, he's taken a lot of leadership courses from the FBI Law Enforcement Development Association, or LEADER, which includes the Supervisory Institute, the Command Institute for Law Enforcement Executives, and Executive Survival Policing in the 21st Century. He's also applied for the FBI National Academy, which if I have anything to do with it, he'll be attending within a year or two. So with that being said, I offer very enthusiastically Sergeant David Sedgwick to be appointed. My recommendation for the Board of Selectmen to appoint him as captain for the Raleigh Police Department.
Thank you.
Want to say something? Would you like to
Dave?
say something on your behalf?
I appreciate the opportunity, and I will continue to, appreciate what this town has done for me, and I give back every single day. So, thank you.
We have a motion to.
Well, I know, Mr. Chairman, just before we make a motion, that I've been in town for 40 odd years, and Sergeant Sedgwick, and before that, Patrolman Sedgwick, he's certainly an asset and credit to the police department, working for a number of chiefs and in all the positions you've been in. And I know from my wife being at the Housing Authority before she retired, that your interaction with the elderly and the things you've done in dealing with citizens and incidents throughout the town has been a credit to yourself, as well as law enforcement, and in particular Raleigh Police Department. So I think I think we all echo the congratulations for you, and we know you'll do a good job. And as we bring a new patrolman on board here, it's your work's cut out for you as well as keeping everything else going. So I want to thank you, and at this point, thank you very much for all you've done, and good luck in the future.
Yeah, I'll have to second that one. I really will. I've been around a little bit more than 40 years. Maybe a day or two after that, but I first met you at Dunkin' Donuts, and it's been good ever since.
Yeah.
It really has. I mean, you're always there when something happens. You catch the bad guys and leave the good guys alone. So that's great.
Well, thank you, Mr. Murray.
You're welcome. Thank you for taking the job.
I
Appreciate
echo,
it very much.
sorry,
No,
didn't
go
mean to
ahead.
cut you off. I echo what Mr. Peterson's remarks.
I'd like to say, first officer I met in town was Dave Sedgwick. I was in front of my house, just about to move in a couple of days, and up the driveway came Officer Sedgwick, come over, asked my wife and myself for a down vacation, and I looked at my wife and said, I think I'm gonna like this town. And along the line here, when I became a selectman, I went out on the road with Dave, and his professionalism is outstanding. We were a late night shift, and when we went back to the station, and one of the young officers, this is how you can tell a really good policeman, one of the young officers was going to court, and Dave sat down with him, told him how to present himself. This is how you're going to present your case. He groomed him for court appearance, and I don't believe that officer had been to court at any
That's
time.
correct, right.
That was his first time, and you spent a good half hour with him and to prepare him for that. And I know a little something about police officers because I happened to grow up at a policeman's table, and an old desk sergeant, and my dad was here. He'd be saying what a fine officer you are, Dave. And
thank you,
fine
Mr.
sergeant. You're going to make a fine captain.
Thank you.
I'll give you a motion to appoint Dave Sedgwick captain of the Raleigh Police Department.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to appoint Dave Sedgwick as police captain. All those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you, Mr.
Opposed?
Chairman.
Congratulations, Larry.
Congratulations.
Want to get a picture with the board? Why
Yeah,
don't
let's get a picture.
you come over here, Chief, why don't you guys come over here? We're a little cramped for space. So as best we can.
Everybody suck in, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Save that up, we'll let you take a picture of the new office.
So if I could, I'd ask Town Clerk Sue Hazen to swear Sergeant Sedgwick in as a captain for us effective on January 30th. And following the swearing in, I'd like his son Garrett to pin the collar brass on, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Oh, awesome.
Sounds good.
Ask you to raise your right hand and read that aloud.
I, David P. Sedgwick, do solemnly swear that I will bear true faith and allegiance to, and will uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and that I will fairly and equitably execute and enforce the laws thereof, within the extent of my authority and jurisdiction, so help me God. I, David P. Sedgwick, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform all the duties incumbent upon me as a police officer in the Raleigh Police Department, and I will obey and be bound by such rules, regulations as now or may be from time to time established for the government of Raleigh Police Department, so help me God. I, David P. Sedgwick, hereby accept the position of police captain in the police department of the town of Raleigh, Massachusetts.
Before we're done, going back to my office.
That's my judgment. You got it?
A little piece of plastic in there. Perfect. All right. Next up, obviously, with Captain Sedgwick Ascension, opens up an opportunity for one of our reserve patrol officers to make their way up as a full-time patrol officer. During my time here at Raleigh, it's only been 9 months, but I've been very impressed with the quality of reserve officers that we have here in the town of Rochester, in Raleigh. And there's two other reserve officers here in the back room, Officer Patrick McGettrick and Officer Mark Smith, that have come down here, who are two very fine quality police officers. And I hope someday to be able to move forward, but we're not here to talk about them, are we, Chris? We're here to talk about you. In order to become a reserve police officer, obviously you got to go through a complete background investigation. You have to put yourself through the part-time police academy, and then once you're hired, you go on. You have a field training position, and you work in the town. But just because you went all through that, and the other officers that took part in the whole hiring process, doesn't mean that was it. We put these guys, first they had to send a resume and a cover letter, and why they wanted to be a full-time police officer for the town of Raleigh. Then we put them through a testing phase. Started off the physical written test first, talk about policy, procedures, and laws, rules and regs within the police department, physical agility test that they had to pass, followed by an oral board which consisted of both inside personnel, outside personnel, and some civilian personnel. And then it followed up with the chief's interview with myself and Lieutenant May. And it was very close and very competitive, as I stated when I started here. A lot of high quality police officers that are working for the town. But Chris came out on top, in that testing phase. Chris is a native of Groveland, grew up in Groveland. He has been a reserve police officer for the town of Raleigh since January 2015. He graduated from the Melita Reserve Academy in 2013. Beyond his annual reserve training, which all reserve officers have to go through, Chris is also attended 16 hours of alert active shooter training, and he's also a certified Glock armorer. He's enrolled in criminal justice courses at Middlesex College in Lowell, where he's seeking to attain his advanced degree. And he's also an ASC certified automotive technician, which does come in handy, believe it or not, in life. So, with that said, I respectfully ask the Board of Selectmen to appoint Reserve Officer Christopher Otani to full-time patrolman for the town of Raleigh.
Thank you, Chief.
Can I just say, Mr. Chairman, that congratulations on your appointment, and I think as we stand, as you sit and we sit and look around the command staff we have here with the new chief, Sergeant McMullen over there, who's been in the department for a long time and has obviously lots of credentials and qualifications, and the new soon-to-be captain. You have some huge shoes to follow in.
Absolutely.
And, as we had the little silence for Officer Wood, the department's come a long way in the last 30, 40 years. So you get to look forward to having you on the department. And we look forward to you learning a lot from these people and ultimately someday maybe maintaining one of these positions yourself, whether it's here or somewhere else. So
Absolutely. Thank
we
you.
welcome you aboard.
Thank you very much.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I echo again Mr. Peterson's remarks that you're welcome aboard. We'll look forward to your service in the town.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Murray?
Yeah, welcome aboard.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'll give you the motion, Mr. Chairman, to hire.
I'll second.
Motion has been made and seconded to appoint Christopher Otani to full-time police officer. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations.
Welcome aboard. Thank you, sir.
Why don't we take a picture of
Yep.
it? Same thing.
Joe up front.
Snuggle right in. Okay, congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thanks a lot. Congratulations. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you.
And if it's okay again with the
Thank you, sir.
selection
See you
of
back there.
Town clerk Sue basically swear him in effective for January 30th. Here, and then his mother
Excellent.
Tricia will pin him on the
Okay.
badge.
Thank
Have to
you.
get somebody else to take a picture, right?
If I could ask you to raise your right hand and you got that.
I, Christopher Otani, do solemnly swear that I will bear true faith and allegiance to and will uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and that I will fairly and equitably execute and enforce the laws thereof within the extent of my authority and jurisdiction, so help me God. I, Christopher Otani, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform all the duties incumbent upon me as a police officer of the Raleigh Police Department, and I will obey and be bound by such rules and regulations as now, or may be, from time to time, established for the government of the Raleigh Police Department, so help me God. I, Christopher Otani, hereby accept the position of police officer in the Police Department of the town of Raleigh, Massachusetts.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
We'll all meet in my office
All right.
afterwards.
Thank you.
Chance, Mom.
That's good. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you very much. Good luck, gentlemen.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thanks, everybody, for coming in. Take care. Good
Again,
luck.
thank you.
Congratulations.
See you, gentlemen. Thank you.
Wish you the best.
Thank you very much.
Captain?
Captain,
Thank you.
I went to see Patriots Day. I didn't see you.
Tired, I cut all my seams.
It's okay. I didn't really mean that.
You know that, right?
Bit of a Dunkin' Donuts. The part you didn't mean, first time you met him was at Dunkin'
No,
Donuts.
I told him, he gave me condolences.
Chief, good to see you.
Take care, Chief. Appreciate it.
one of the best times to be a member of the Board of Selectmen and to chair the meeting and to welcome, to be able to appoint a new police captain and a new patrolman.
Yeah, a lot of changes.
Yep. Alrighty. We'll move back into new business. And we have new business number 5. We want to discuss fiscal year 18 budget guidelines. Until we have some clear indication on what we should expect for increases.
Henry? Yeah, thank you. Not all the way.
Yep.
That's good. Thank you,
Thanks,
Henry.
Until we have some clear indication on what we should expect for increases from Triton, Whittier Voc Tech, in the Essex Agricultural Technical High School, we should plan in the fiscal year 18 budget to have department expense budgets level funded and wages remain under the same compensation plan, step increases in a 1% cost of living increase. Preliminary estimates based on the Triton budget presentations show that the potential increase for Triton alone could reach well over $500,000 per hour. Principal Assessor Sean McFadden has projected the fiscal year 18 new growth tax revenue to be $56,560. The 2.5 levy is $341,209, making the total new tax revenue estimate for the fiscal year 18 to be $397,769. In the past, the Board of Selectmen has offered to give Triton half of the new growth in new tax revenue. However, over the past several years, the Triton increase, along with the other school assessments, have taken all of the town's new tax revenue and more. Does the board wish to send a letter to Triton, as you have done in the past, advising them of the status of the town's ability to pay for any projected assessment increases? Also, as a starting point, Debbie is recommending that the board follow the same budgetary guidelines as in the past and to approve the following guidelines as preliminary. 1. Expenses. Level fund department expense budgets. However, departments requesting operational increases need to clearly identify the reasons why the increase is needed. Please clearly identify and itemize the areas of expense budget that need to be increased with the estimated amount. 2. Wages, non-union. Non-union employees will continue to follow the town's compensation schedule, which provides for a step increase of 1.25% and a 1% cost of living increase. The Personnel Advisory Committee will be working on the fiscal year 18 compensation schedule. Union. The town has settled contracts with the AFS-CME and the Teamsters unions. Guidelines will follow the terms of those agreements. The town is in negotiations with the third union, Mass Cops. So do we want to, I am going to the District Communications Committee meeting Thursday night. Do we want to?
Is that a discussion of the budget, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
Or is that the agreement?
That's on, it's, the agenda is to discuss the Triton Regional Agreement.
Can we discuss this? Just,
Yep.
you know, all of us here at this table have been in your seat, Joe, okay? And we sat, so each one of us sat and done the budget. We sat down and we know that we're gonna run the town on 40% of the budget. 60% of the budget is going up to Triton. Now, we also have Pine Grove School is coming up for a vote. And the taxpayer is just about spent. And I say this over and over again, but you people sitting at home, I can well understand your concerns. 60% of the budget is decided by the school committee up at Triton. 40%, again, is here. I'm very concerned that over $500,000, the taxpayer looking at that and then looking at Pine Grove School, it puts it in jeopardy. And we need the Pine Grove School, we need to get that to pass, because we need to have the income from the state to pay for it. Otherwise, it's going to fail. Again, we could have, Joe, I think when you go up there, you have to talk, Mr. Chairman, and put it right on the line with them, for them to understand, you know, the circumstances, the dire circumstances of the town we're going to be in, and how this is going to affect the budget here and there, and the overall condition of the town.
I'm very, very concerned about the Pine Grove School renovation. I'm concerned that because the school needs to be renovated. It doesn't meet code. And so we do have to make changes to the school. I'm expecting to get a figure from Michelle Crestor as to what the Triton Regional District has spent on Pine Grove since July 1st for this fiscal year. They've had quite an expenditure on the different projects because of the school needing renovation. And we do have, if we don't pass the override, then we don't get the state funding.
Yes.
And the state is willing to pay for half. But it's a big chunk to chew on. It is a lot to ask the taxpayers to ask to fund that override, even though the state is paying half. It's a big increase. I have been making our concerns known to the school committee that, we do have the police fire station that we're just going into construction on, and that we passed the override for the preliminary fund study for Pine Grove, and we just have a limit as to what we can afford as a town, and that they should try to do their best for the budget for the school annual increase. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult.
And they have to understand the makeup of the taxpayer. It's not the taxpayer of years ago. This is a taxpayer who has just a 401k, not a defined pension plan. They are strapped, and they have health care skyrocketing. So they have to take that into consideration. And the number of taxpayers are not as many as they used to be to take care of the public domain.
Right.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, just to reiterate a few facts. When we build our budget here at the town level, we look and see how much money we have to spend, and then we divide it up by our needs. We never are able to fund all the needs that we would like to. In fact, oftentimes we have to reduce budgets, or like this year, where once again, level funding expenses, our pay increases are 2.25%. So, we're getting by with, minimal amounts of funds for the town. In regards to the school, they seem to, we went to the meetings. I was at the meeting, you were at the meeting, where I didn't see the high school and the middle school, but the elementary principals all come in and present their wish list. The superintendent makes up a figure based on the wish list, and then they sit and cut that back. They never spend any time discussing or looking at what kind of funds the towns have which need to fund this budget. I think people have to realize that when we get that bill, that's something that, ultimately we're required to pay. We don't have any choice. I mean, we can play games with it, but we're required to pay it. And if we don't have the funds available, then we have to cut back, whether it's the police department, the highway department, the fire department, Board of Health, or wherever. Or reduce pay raises and expense budgets once again. And I think the last 2 or 3 years, the schools have taken well over the 50% of the new growth and the increase in the tax levy that, we normally have given them in past years. And we just cannot afford to keep on dishing out this kind of money. We're getting hurt. 2 years ago, I believe it was 2 years ago, we passed an override for the new field. Last year, we passed an override for the police and fire station as well as the school study. Obviously, this spring, we're gonna be looking for millions of dollars to repair update and repair the elementary school. So, we kind of asked the school system along the way to kind of be cognizant of the fact that, these are tight times, and certainly the taxpayers in this town have been more than generous in how much money they're willing to spend in the schools. And, we all, as a board, we've had kids in the system. We understand what it takes to run the schools and so on and so forth, so. I don't know what to say, they don't seem to listen. And their attitude is that whatever they need, they should get, and everything else be damned. And it's just something that, we sit here every year that I've been a selectman, this is my 4th year in a row that I've been a selectman. And I think we've talked about this every year, and every year it falls on deaf ears. So, if there's a meeting on Thursday regarding the Triton Regional Agreement, I think that the school committee ought to realize that, to heck with the regional agreement, leave the regional agreement alone. We need help with the budget and the budget process. The regional agreement has been functioning, and before we make any wholesale changes to that, let's get the budget process straightened out. And if it takes an extra year or two to change the regional agreement, that's fine. But I think at some point we have to make a stand that we're not going to take it anymore. And I think when it comes to town meeting time, if we can't get some serious reductions in this budget, I think the town ought to vote the school budget down. And granted, we'll end up having to fund it anyway, but at least we send a message, and hopefully the other 2 towns will take a look at it also. Send a message that, we got to get serious here. There's no way we can continually fund the schools at the level of increase each year, and particularly with the fact that, as Larry presented, the drop in the student population. I mean, we're losing kids right and left, and yet every year the budget for us takes a 4, 5, 6% increase, which is well above what we're able to afford by law. I mean, we're limited by law as to how much we can increase our taxes to the taxpayer.
Right.
And they just seem to have no concept of that. So I think at this point, I think we need to start, at least playing a little bit of hardball with the school people, and let them know that, we're going to turn some of this stuff down. Yeah, ultimately we're going to pay. We understand that, but at least someone has to start saying no to them. And I'm just hopeful and prayerful, as we all are, that the taxpayers don't take it out on the elementary school project, because that's money. We're going to spend that money. If the state doesn't give us half, we're going to pay 100% of it,
100%.
of a number of renovations that absolutely have to be done over there at the schools, and needs all kinds of things, and that project is meant to do that, and the state recognizes that, and they're willing to give us half the funding. So
Right.
I don't care what letter we send to the school committee, but I think we have to, the facts on this sheet that you read, I think are very germane to what we send them, and let them know that, we're in a position where, at this point, and we're not anti-school by any stretch of the imagination, any one of us, and that, they need to open their eyes a little bit and understand that there's a limit as to how much money's in the checkbook.
Right.
And you guys, I didn't go, you guys went, and the town administrators went to the MMA meeting the other day. I'm sure the governor is, maybe throw a pittance here and there. I saw something in the paper about $20 increase per student, maybe, for the schools. Well, that ends up being next to nothing. That doesn't even cover,
No.
it doesn't even begin to cover inflationary costs, let alone all kinds of additional costs that.
Not a bit.
And then depending on the assessment formulas, that, we got hit real hard the last couple of years on the assessment formula. So, if that happens again, we're gonna eat up every bit of free cash and every bit of available funds we have. And as we look around town, we got a lot of our own problems. I'd love to be able to hire an extra police officer or two, or we definitely gonna need an extra fireman or two in the next few years. Highway department, we cut back years ago and have never hired back that person. We just keep getting it on the chin, and the school just keeps asking for more and more. So, but I'll leave it with that, but it's just, it's very discouraging to face this year after year, and we all knew it was coming. I mean, it just just the cost of doing business. And the fact that we literally have no control over it is very frustrating,
hard part.
because
Yep.
we're the ones that have to figure out how to fund it.
If we were a town that had a lot of fat, I could understand. We're not. I mean, all of us here at this table know this is a lean, frugal operation. And I've said it many times, we run a lean and mean operation. There's no frills here. Everything we do it with the thought of you at home, the taxpayer. So, and I go around town and people stop me and they ask me questions and they ask me about the budget and about the schools. I hope when they see the school committee members, they'll go up to see the school committee members and sit there and voice their concerns. Because 60% of your dollar that you send into the town goes up to Triton. So I hope that the people at home voice their opinion at these meetings with the school committee, as they've come in and voiced it to me, and I know you guys get the same thing. So
I have two comments that I'd like to share. One is that I went to all three nights presentations from the elementary schools and the middle and high school, and to the administration on the third night. And most of the budget requests were to restore the budget cuts that were made last year by the principals, which we still can't afford. The second comment that I would offer is that Saturday, the 28th, at Triton, they're going to have their budget meeting, and they will be going through the budgets, and I believe it is a public meeting, so that anybody can attend. I don't know if you can speak, but
will the taxpayer be allowed to come into the meeting?
I think they can. I don't know if they can speak. I'm not sure. I will find out Thursday night, but that'll be too late for us. Mr. Mary?
No, I mean, there isn't anything else to add. It's what it is, and we've been struggling with it for quite some time.
We have. We
really
definitely
have. I
have.
mean, we've been got lucky a couple of times. Some stuff showed up, but it doesn't happen always.
Yep.
It really doesn't, and we just be thankful that our employees and people that work for us and do things for us are understandable. That they do it and complain a little bit once in a while, but they do it. So we can't go on like that forever.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, and the other thing, Mr. Chairman, is, when it comes time to figure out the final budget, we usually end up stealing money from free cash to fund the schools. All that does, I mean, it's nice that we might have that money available, but now that, normally you don't take operating funds out of one-time funds. So what that does is it obligates us out of next year's free cash before we even start, to use some of that for the schools, and then when they increase our budget 4 or 5%, and a couple of $100,000 over and above what we can afford anyway, it just keeps progressing further and further, and we get deeper and deeper behind in terms of trying to fund these things. So
Right.
this is not a one-time. We all have one-time issues that need to be funded, but this has become a yearly problem, and there seems to be no recognition on the part of the school administration and the school committee up there to understand that we have to come up with the funding, and we have to go to the taxpayers, and they're kind of insulated up there. You go to the budget meetings, nobody goes. Parents don't go. It's you go all the time, Joe, and I've been to a number of them, and a lot of us have gone, and it's they're basically insulated from any kind of public opinion up there whatsoever,
Basically.
and that's the way they treat it, and we get very little recognition that the town needs anything other than they want us to write the checks.
Again, Dave, the budget, 40% is here, 60%.
60% is
It's
going
up there.
up.
And we don't even know what we're gonna come up with Whittier Votech or Essex Aggie, which the last couple of years have slammed us on top of whatever the Triton
Right.
increase has been. So if Triton gives us a 4 or 5% increase and we get a couple of more students that go to each one of those schools, well, that's another assessment on top of that, once again, that we really have no control over.
Right. Bernie?
I would concur with Joe's description of the budget process. I was there for 2 of the 3 nights as well. I would disagree with David's view of the Triton agreement, because I think that's really the only vehicle that we actually exist to actually change or modify the current budgeting process. So I think Thursday's meeting is going to be important to basically push through this, the tying of the operational budget to a longer time period than they currently have, which is essentially we're told how much to spend, and then we are expected to raise the money, and nobody in the school committee that I can see, and nobody in the schools actually has that $200,000 number firmly implanted in their heads as to this is what Rowley can essentially afford. Now, we probably need to keep whatever communication you're going to send to the school committee and the superintendent very brief and basically to the point, and basically saying we can't afford more than $200,000, period. And if it goes beyond that, then we cannot support the budget. And I think it needs to be short and quite bitter, basically, in the sense of it has to be very clear, and the shorter the better to get that message, the message across. Because I think the whole process is just as you described. It's a wish list, and there's no reason why it wouldn't be a wish list, because the whole process is set up. So it's essentially a wish list. So we can't blame the schools for doing it, because there's no process in place that forces the administration to kind of basically acknowledge what the budgetary limitations are for the participating towns, and that needs to be embedded into the Triton agreement, because I don't see any other way of doing it. I mean, that has any kind of force of law, basically.
Bertie's correct, there's no restraints whatsoever.
So kind of lucky. So it's only lucky that they're taking basically 100% of the increase. It could be 200% of the increase. That would be really.
And I'll be perfectly honest with you, Bernie, when Marissa came down and presented the Triton Regional Agreement changes, I didn't get the impression that was gonna do much for the budget. I mean, yeah, maybe over time, if we do a 5-year average versus a 1-year.
No, it won't.
I mean, it's a minimal change, and, you know, if that's the case, fine, but otherwise, I've changed my mind. I've always been a supporter. I've been on 2 previous Triton Regional Agreement committees that recommended changes going back 25 years. And, you know, we definitely, if they can upfront give us an estimate of what the changes will be that'll benefit the town, fine. Otherwise, I would tell them, and if I go Thursday, I'm gonna try and make it, that, you know, we're not interested in it. You gotta come up, our priority is the budget, and the Triton Regional Agreement's priority is second, unless you can show us that the regional agreement is being rewritten in such a way that we're gonna save, you know, some money, and a substantial money, and I don't see that happening through the regional agreement, because it's, the whole process is
Part of
such
the
that.
agreement, though, I'll have to go through it again. That one section is going to change how the assessment is made, so that we're not using the state formula, and that we are going to change it so that all 3 towns will pay a reasonable assessment, and that would lower our assessment to the town of Raleigh for the fiscal year 18. By, you know, if you go by last year's numbers, Newbury didn't pay any, it got a $200,000 decrease, and Raleigh and Salisbury paid the actual dollar increases. And so what they're proposing, I believe, is part of the agreement. It may not have been part of the agreement. I think I'll have to check on that, is to go with, we can change the way the assessment is made so that all 3 towns pay more or less an equal share based upon student enrollment. But but right now, just 2 of the 3 towns have to approve the budget. if we change the assessment to other than the state formula, then all three towns have to approve the budget. And if any one town disapproves, then the budget is, has to be reworked again.
Yeah, the only problem, Mr. Chairman, is that, the budget bottom line is going to be X amount of $1 million.
Right.
So now the agreement decides how it's gonna be, how that pie is gonna be divided up.
Right.
If we're gonna get if the agreement is gonna give us a substantial reduction in our payment, our portion, that means someone else is gonna get a substantial increase.
Yes.
And if anybody thinks that, and I'm not blaming Newbury right now is the one that's the last couple of years has had done almost nothing in terms of increases. I mean, I don't see the taxpayers of Newbury voting to increase their school assessment.
No.
And that trade and regional agreement has to be ratified by all three
All three.
towns. So I mean, it's really, I think it's, to me right now, the war is more important than how it ends up, because I think we have to finally make the school committee realize that we're tired of playing the game, and we're gonna lose in the end anyway, but at least let's go down fighting and not just acquiescing like we've done the last few years.
Well, what we have to do is we have to convince Newbury that all three towns have been in a similar position at some time or another.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And so right now, we're taking a big hit. And what we have to make it fair and equitable to all three towns. And they have to understand that.
In the overall,
Yep.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, go. Deb.
No, Mr. Chairman, I was gonna say whether it's, just some ideas or concepts that maybe Mr. Cullen was talking about in the Triton Agreement could be language that ties the budgeting process to an examination of revenues. And you can take any budgeting course you want, and Governor Baker has to do it. Part of the budgeting process, step one, is to look at revenue. And there's these budget presentations that happened 2 weeks ago without an examination of revenue. And that's not how you do your budget. You have to figure out how much money you have before you even get involved in wish list things. Having things like that in there, a mandatory review of that language that requires the school to look at what the revenue sources are, and also to have language tied to school enrollment, so that maybe there's some automatic triggers for a decrease in enrollment results in, a commensurate decrease in the budget of some type, or looking at things like that. But the problem is, year after year, and I know though, this was not always the case since I've been here, the superintendents in the past had come to the three towns. They met with me, they met with selectmen, the finance committee chairman, and we reviewed our revenues. And that has not happened in a long time, but that was part of the process. And there would be a thoughtful discussion at the table, just looking at enrollment and revenues, and that doesn't happen anymore, and it stopped maybe 5 or 6 years ago, I think.
Well, none of that is part of this current changes in the regional agreement, and I think that's why, one reason why I think we need to turn it down, and, let the school committee realize that there is a crisis in terms of revenues. It's not gonna get any better the next couple of years. The president's already talking about he's gonna reduce taxes, which means he's gonna reduce money going back to the state, which means the state's gonna reduce money coming to us, which means we have to put up with budget cuts and deal with budget cuts, and except the school feels that they don't have to. I would suggest that, we end up looking at turning the budget down, turn down the agreement, and tell them that we'd like to have the agreement reflect at least consideration for the revenue picture besides just what the wish list is for programming and so on and so forth. And in particular, it's, we're losing students. The student population is being reduced on a fairly large level each year, and yet we see no accounting of that in the school budget process. And they don't even look at it. They don't want to talk
We're
about it.
talking here about the overall, plan year after year after year.
Yeah, I think we need to change how that plan is put together, and I think we do that by turning down this agreement. And
But this particular year, Dave, we are in really
Oh, yeah, no.
bad position because this puts the Pine Grove School in jeopardy. with a figure like that, over $500,000, the taxpayer, I don't know what, they will just choke.
Yeah,
And I think,
Yep.
Joe, correct me if I'm wrong, that figure that you have in the $500,000 is based on more or less an even, dividing the assessment up evenly. We have no idea, student population-wise, how we're gonna get hit. And even if even if the committees okay the regional agreement changes, they won't be voted on until the May town meeting, which means the earliest they're gonna take effect is gonna be for FY 19, I think, will be the next fiscal year. So, I mean, this year here, we have to emphasize to them that, you know, we're hurting. This is bad. And we take all that free cash and put it in the schools. That obligates us a big chunk of next year's free cash before we even start. Then they add more on top of that. And we need to make a statement, and we need to make a stand, I feel, anyway. So, not to delay it any longer.
One of the town meetings, I think was last year in the spring, there was a young fellow who got up and talked about living in the town and what the tax rate has done to him.
Oh, yeah, no, it's hard.
So,
yep.
I think we'll have more of that at town meeting.
Would be sending a letter or,
Do you want me to carry a letter Thursday night or not?
I don't know. You know, we write letters and it falls on deaf ears. If you go, Joe.
I think Larry has already made his presentation.
I think Larry is probably planning. I'm going to try and make it on Thursday.
I think we should put it in writing.
And I would keep it brief and just wouldn't get, one page
Yep.
of our feelings, and I think the rest of us, we make our presentation at the.
Yeah, because we get a chance to speak.
Yeah, at the meeting.
well, Mr. Chairman, if they're having a budget meeting this Saturday and they haven't approached any of the municipalities in the district for revenue estimates?
No.
Okay.
No, in the past, when I've gone to that meeting in the past on Saturday, what you basically get is a dissertation of what their budget needs are. And we get to ask questions, but we don't, it's not a budget meeting in the sense that we give a give and take of what we can afford to give. It's a matter of, the superintendent has taken all the comments he's heard in the last 3 meetings last week, or the week before, whenever it was. He's put them all together, so now he
Yeah,
presents.
they're just collating the
He
whole
presents a
package.
big picture for 3 hours, and we sit there, and yeah, you can ask a few questions, but there's no real discussion of the budget. It's a matter of everything's on the table now, and then later on, they'll have their budget meeting. So, I mean, to me, what I don't want to see is the office staff putting together a huge letter that just falls on deaf ears. We've done that way too many times in the past, and I just don't want you guys wasting your time doing it. I mean, I'll be perfectly happy, like I say, hopefully to be at the meeting. I know the chairman will be, and they will. I'm not expecting much, but, all we can do is make our voices heard. So, I said my
Is
piece.
there a dollar amount then in the letter, would the board would put forward? Is it half of
Well,
that or
I would
or is-
attach, Debbie, I would attach this letter, which clearly, kind of just a cover letter for this, almost for the letter that Joe read into the record tonight.
From the meeting packet?
From the
notes?
meeting packet, yeah, we just put a cover, one paragraph, this is what we discussed, and this is our position from the town of Raleigh. And,
Yeah, just
like I
it-
say, you're not that way you're not spending a lot of time trying to put nice words in, and, like I say, we've done it so many times before, that it's just like whacking our head against the wall. How often can you do that?
Should we put it also in the concerns about Pine Grove?
No, they know that. Bob, they know that. I know, I've heard Joe express it, I've expressed it. It's just, one really has nothing to do with the other than, we need Pine Grove passed, and,
Well, I know
that's
we
gonna
need
be a
Pine-
that's gonna be a tough fight, no matter what the budget is.
Right.
So,
But I mean, it just added on to,
yeah, I mean, we can, if you wanna add something in there, that's fine. I think it's important to show this is how our budget is done, and they need to do something with their budget.
Yeah,
I mean,
just
we rep-
attach
we-
attach
we
the letter
represent
to
the
that.
taxpayer out there.
Yeah.
And this is what we have to send up there, their concerns of the taxpayer.
Yeah, I mean, if they want to add a little, so I just don't want Debbie doing, or Amy doing a lot of, spending a couple hours on writing a letter that's really gonna be disregarded anyway. That's the
That's-
attitude I get,
That's a shame.
so,
And all the 100% of the money is coming
You
from
need
here.
a motion on the letter?
I'll give you the motion, Mr. Chairman, send the letter.
Do you have a second?
Oh, yes, second, definitely.
Motion has been made and seconded to send a letter to Triton, and I'll hand carry it on Thursday night. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're only running a few minutes late. We have an 8 p.m. joint meeting with the Historic District Commission to discuss the next steps to follow regarding an unapproved fence at 238 Main Street. Chairman Perry will call a joint meeting with the Historic District Commission to order by a roll call vote of the Board of Selectmen. I need a motion.
Need the motion, Mr. Chairman.
Second?
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to call a joint meeting with the Historic District Commission and the Board of Selectmen. All those in favor say aye. Roll call.
Aye, Robert Murray.
Aye, Joseph Perry.
Hi, Robert Snow.
Hi, Dave Peterson.
Hi, Frank Todd.
I'm Barbara Breaker.
Hi, John Cardillo.
Sarah Bork. Aye.
Bill Witkowski. Mike Sabatini.
Okay, I declare that the joint meeting of the Board of Selectmen and the Historic District Commission is open. I'll call upon Chairman Todd and the members of the Historic District Commission to provide the Board of Selectmen with a summary of the facts and the issues that they wish to discuss.
Thank you.
Sarah.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you for having this appointment. This was really helpful to have it later. I think you all know who I am, and I think you know Chairman Todd, and you know Mike Sabatini. I'd like to introduce Barbara Breaker as a new member. She's a homeowner in town on the Raleigh Common and a fierce preservationist, along with John Cardello at 52 Main Street. Master electrician by day, fierce preservationist by night. You've all seen the box at his house, the unidentified object disappear. He's been working hard on that. And Bill Witkowski is an Oyster Point neighborhood member, and he works in the planning and architecture department at MIT and has worked on many historic projects for the campus and has had to work with Cambridge Historical Society. So he comes with a lot of skill, and we're glad to have him.
Very good.
So I have some packages for you. May I give them to you?
Sure.
Okay. So I don't have one for everybody, but this is some photos that we can discuss tonight. This is a copy of the guidelines, and here is, if you just turn there, that's the fences.
Want to take a look?
So the goal of this evening is to have a discussion about this unpermitted fence. The fence completely alters the historic streetscape. It lacks the appropriate character for the architectural style of the house that it abuts. There was some concern if the fence was located in the right area, but that's not what we're here to discuss this evening. It clearly does not meet our guidelines, which are you have right there, which I will read for you. Fences can be erected for utilitarian or aesthetic reasons. Fences are significant architectural features. They were sometimes architect designed, as of those of Samuel McIntyre. Architecturally important fences should be replaced or repaired when necessary with new materials that duplicate the old as closely as possible. Fences along street facades of historic houses were meant to serve as decorative purpose. Such fences should not block a house's view but complement it. They should be in scale to the property, and they should be open and not solid. Narrow pickets, approximately 2.5 inches in width, are preferred to wood pickets or to wide pickets. Design of the fence should be based on the period of the house and the use of the fence. If wood, it's to be used, it should be picket, a capped picket, or a spindle fence. Those are our recommendations. Now, if you look at your package, we'll look at the existing fence that's there. This fence really does alter the streetscape. It blocks, it's high, it's very tall, and I think that this picture, the third in your package, really shows the scale difference between the two, what we would say is appropriate and what is not appropriate. And in design review, if this fence had come before us, we would have said, this is an appropriate fence for the style of architecture of your home, and we are all okay with privacy. We understand that this homeowner has a hot tub and is looking for privacy. Well, that can be achieved with vegetation for privacy, and then a decorative fence in scale could occur on the outside to meet the historic streetscape. Unfortunately, this photo really shows as a wall, right? It's very blocked off. And the reason for us being here tonight is we haven't had the positive or collaborative dialogue with this property owner, and we're here tonight in hopes that we can come up with next steps as how we can move forward and get a resolution that will work for maintaining the historic streetscape, work with the architecture, and really work with the property owner. And but we haven't been able to do that. So there is a little back history too. Mr. Todd had a conversation with the property owner, who said that the selectmen.
He said that the selectman wrote him a letter and told him that that it was best that he put a fence up and to block off the woodwork.
Wood pile.
What he does for work, but we've been unable to get a copy of that letter, both from here and from Michael. So it's out there in space, you might say.
We were not able to. I contacted Debbie about that very issue, and she asked me to contact the property owner to get a time frame, because it sounded like it was from the way past, and so that way she could go to the archives and look it up. But Mike, you found out that it doesn't exist.
Right. When he came over my house to talk about it one day, when I pressed him about the letter, he said it didn't exist. It was a conversation that he had with the Board of Selectmen back in the early 1980s.
1980s. But he has not approached the Historic District Commission about this fence or made
No.
any.
Nothing. So that's really where we're at. So we kind of thought, well, we want positive resolution here, so we're asking for your help.
We just turned down somebody on Central Street for about the same thing. So this is just a follow-through.
When did the fence go up?
So the fence went up at the end of September, and I contacted Ken Ward as to who the property owner is, and we started an initial dialogue with the chairman, and then it went nowhere. So and then in December, we decided as a commission that we needed help, and we thought it would be best to come here.
It's about a 6-foot tall fence.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Anything over 6 feet is a spike fence. You cannot put them against the neighbor.
I guess, what are our legal choices here? Is this something we should?
Yeah, Mr.
Refer
Chairman,
to
I would
town
suggest
council.
that we have, if Ms. Bork is the spokesperson for the HDC, that maybe I have Town Council Judy Pickett work with her on reviewing the authority of the HDC under the bylaw and Chapter 40C, and see if she could help them draft maybe some letters or other appropriate communication to the landowner.
Yeah, I'd like to see that started, we're working through the town council and so that we can get a legal opinion from her and to see how that works out.
Could we maybe write a letter to the homeowner from the Board of Selectmen? It's a public meeting, so I assume the homeowner knows we're here, or at least has the opportunity to know we're here. And advise him that we've met, and we would like him to follow through with the historic group to come to a resolution to this, and we are turning the matter over to the town council to take a look at it. I mean, I think that's about the most we can do. I don't know, did we have any enforcement powers as far as, you know, forcing someone to do anything, but Judy Pickett will give us that information if we do. It may be a matter of having to go to court if that's the way it goes. And obviously, nobody wants to do that, so maybe if we can have the town administrator word strongly.
Well, do you want to send the letter before you ask
I think
for town council's
Yeah, I
advice,
think it's,
or-
I mean, this is an open meeting. I think a strong letter from the Board of Selectmen at this point probably won't do anything, but I think at least if there's further issues later on, even though we don't have the letter that was supposedly sent to us, I think at this point, we can, in our letter, say, you know, we have no record of ever receiving it. And it was put our case down so that there's a paper trail if in fact litigation takes place or whatever happens. At least we've done, under the law, we've done due diligence and have a paper trail of exactly. And I think, you know, it's an open meeting, so the gentleman could have been here, or he could be watching it on TV or whatever, so we're not hiding anything here, I think. But it's just making sure that we're on record as to what our feelings are, and like I say, create a paper trail. I think that's critical in these kinds of cases, that we do that. In the meantime, we'll find out from town council if we have any authority to do anything, and or if we're able to go to court based on either our bylaw or the state law that applies to historical groups like yourself, and like ourselves, really. We're all in the same boat here.
Any other comment?
Agree with Dave.
I'll give you a motion,
Motion.
Mr. Chairman, to send a letter,
Second.
as well as talk to Judy Pickett,
And
town
to,
council.
I'll second that.
A motion has been made and seconded to send a letter and to refer the question to town council Judy Pickett. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have to close it. I'll give you a motion, Mr. Chairman, to close the joint meeting.
I'll second it.
Motion has been made and seconded to close the joint meeting. Roll call vote.
Aye, Robert Mary.
Aye, Joe Perry.
I read Snow.
Aye, Dave Peterson.
Hi, Frank Dodd.
Hi, Barbara Breaker.
Yeah, John Condola.
Aye, Sarah Bork.
Aye, Bill Bukowski. Aye, Mike Sabatini.
Meeting is closed.
Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you very much.
Is this the whole board?
No, two missing. Nat Dummer's not here,
Oh, okay.
and Mike Harney.
Thank you for coming in, and
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Take care, Bill.
Nice to see you all.
Bill,
Yeah,
take care.
good to see you.
Wow, what's this? Getting cold out there, man. Keep me warm.
Okay, moving on with our agenda. We're down to old business number 1. We have an update on the fire station and police station addition. Public Safety Building Committee has been meeting on a regular basis. Project architect Greg Carell has been meeting with the fire chief and police chief on the concept plan so that he can send it to his cost estimator. Debbie is working with Greg Carell on some of the site work tasks, such as the completion of the site survey. Debbie has obtained a proposal from Phil Patterson at Meridian Engineering for a survey. Please see attached. Debbie is asking for authorization to proceed with this work in accordance with the proposal. Phil Patterson is familiar with the town of Raleigh and has done a number of survey projects for the town in the past. Mr. Carell sent Debbie a draft contract which is being reviewed by town council Tom Mullen. So I am pleased to tell you that the Greg Carell is, because Chief Dumas was not on duty when the original proposal was passed at town meeting last May. He has met with Chief Dumas and has gone over some revisions that he's made to his drawings and talked to him about his, what he would like to see in the renovation of the police station and with the new fire station.
Yeah, we have a meeting Wednesday morning with the building committee.
Right.
And to go over the updates on where we stand. And I would make a motion to allow town administrator to hire Meridian Engineering to do the survey work as requested.
I'll second.
Motion has been made, seconded to hire Meridian to do the survey work for the police and fire station addition, police station addition and the new fire station. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. And old business number 2, we have an update on the Prospect Hill project. Debbie has been working with Conservation Agent Brent Bazelak on directing actions related to the stabilization of the roadway construction site pursuant to the enforcement order issued by the Conservation Commission. The contractor has installed the erosion control eels, constructed a stilling basin at the bottom of the channel at the base of the hill, and completed other site improvements. Construction will resume this spring. Brent has inspected all of the work and is satisfied with it. He and the contractor have been monitoring the site on a regular basis, but especially during and after stormy weather conditions. These winterization measures, which were required by the Conservation Commission and the DEP, cost $3,607. Because it is a compliancy requirement, Debbie is recommending that this expense be covered in the Selectmen's expense line and that she be authorized to sign the change order for this work, which will include the revised schedule for completion. The town engineers are working with the contractor on the change order document. Debbie will continue to work with Brent on this project.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I was out there with the town administrator when the DEP representative came. She's been working with Brent. The site there were some minor issues out there, but it's been agreed on the plan to fix them up. And at this amount of money, we'll take care of the problem, and Brent's been working diligently on it. I would recommend that we go ahead and authorize it, even though it's out of our budget. It's gonna make our budget short at the end of the year. We may have to go to the finance committee, but it's either we spend the money and be in compliance, or we spend the money and get fined by DEP, so we certainly don't want that, so.
No.
It's a tough project out there. I mean, it's a tough site, and it's a steep hill, and, so.
And it's the unusual amount of rain that fell
Yeah,
after a drought on a slope, but had these measures not been taken, or the town had not contemplated this project to begin with, I mean, I can't imagine what that road would look like, and what kind of sediment would be in the resource area
It'd be interesting to see it tomorrow morning.
if this was never done to begin with.
Yes.
Well,
No,
they
Mr.
put-
Bazelak has been at the site twice today, and he's very pleased. These measures that were requested by the DEP are working very well.
Yeah, but the main thing is, on the day we were out there, Debbie, the mud was, it was a thaw and it had rained and the mud was everywhere, and there was some leach of the mud through the silt fence into the wetland, so it was a legitimate problem there. But since then, if you go out there and take a look, and I encourage everyone to do that, the whole area's been covered in stone, there's new barriers. I mean, I don't see, unless it's a 20-inch rainstorm, I think we're gonna be all right. And if we're not, if there's another issue, then we come back and address it. But I think we want to be very active in taking care of this, both for the benefit of the project, the landowners around there, and obviously we don't want to be wasting money giving fines to DEP when we do bear some responsibility for the situation that developed. I'll give you a motion to allow Debbie to spend $3,607.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to cover the cost of the work at Prospect Hill. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Thank you. I do like the picture of the eels on Prospect Hill.
We'll find them some water, that's all.
Not too much. Okay, we're down to minutes. I noticed on the December 19th minutes that Mr. Peterson was absent.
Give you a motion for December 19th.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve the Board of Selectmen minutes from December 19th. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Give you a motion for the executive session on January the 9th, 2017.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve the minutes for the Board of Selectmen meeting for January 9th, executive session. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Give you a motion, Mr. Chairman, for the Board of Selectmen minutes for January, regular session, January 9th, 2017.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve the minutes for the January 9th regular Board of Selectmen meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. We have announcements, Christmas tree drop-off at Eris Park. We have information on the Pine Grove School project is available on the town's website at www.townofraleigh.net. The Raleigh Water Department has set a mandatory water ban in place. Outdoor watering is not permitted. The town has the following vacancies: fence viewer, 3 positions; wood, lumber, and bark inspector; zoning board of appeals associate, 2 seats; parks and recreation committee, 1 seat; deputy shellfish constables, 1 position. For more information on these positions, please contact the Selectmen's office at 948-2372. The Raleigh Food Pantry is in need of donations. Donations can be left at the Raleigh Public Library. We're going into executive session, collective bargaining strategy, Mass Coalition of Police, MCOP, Local 360 pursuant to State Open Meeting Law, General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3. To consider the purchase and value of real property, 221 Main Street pursuant to State Open Meeting Law, General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 21A6. The motion to go into executive session.
Give me that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, could you read number 1 and number 2?
Yes, sorry. Chairman calls for motion to go into executive session for the following purpose: to discuss collective bargaining strategy pursuant to the State Open Meeting Law, General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, Massachusetts Coalition of Police, MCOP, Local 360, because an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the Board of Selectmen, and 2, to consider the purchase and value of real property pursuant to the State Open Meeting Law, General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 21A6, located at 221 Main Street, because an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the negotiating position of the Board of Selectmen, and to not return to open session.
Give me that motion, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Roll call vote.
Aye, Robert Murray.
Aye, Joseph Perry.
I Robert Snow.
Aye, Dave Peterson.
We're in executive session. Thank you.